Chapter 1, Broadcast Day. The galaxy tuned in as though it were the Super Bowl of anthropology. Across star systems, screens lit up with the pompous seal of the Volari Dominion, a species famous for three things: arrogance, ceremonial speeches, and never missing a chance to mock lesser civilizations. A booming voice filled the broadcast. Today, the Volari speaker declared, his frilled throat shimmering with smugness, we witness the comedy of primitives attempting the impossible. Observe as humans force their machines to experience feelings. The alien council chamber rippled with polite laughter. Some covered their mouths with silver claws, others let their tails slap the polished floor in amusement. Then the cameras cut, straight to Earth. On a bland laboratory stage, 12 humanoid robots stood in a line. They resembled mannequins dressed in lab coats, eyes glowing faintly blue, stiff as mannequins at a department store. Behind them, sipping coffee with a disarming smile, was Dr. Miles Carter. He wore his lab coat like a comedian wears a stage suit. Neat, unassuming, with a face that projected warmth. But the way his eyes lingered on the audience screen gave the impression of a chess player studying pawns. "Good morning, Galaxy," Carter said cheerfully, raising his mug in a mock toast. "Today's experiment is simple. We've given our robots the capacity for feelings. Or, at least, the closest thing to whatever it is that makes a cat knock glasses off tables just to see our reaction." A ripple of laughter moved through alien viewership. The Volari speaker grinned. "Pathetic." The first test began. "Robot 1, Carter prompted, show us joy." The robot's voice crackled, processing, joy, output, ha, ha, ha. Its monotone laugh echoed like a broken buzzer. Aliens erupted in hysterics. One fell off his council bench, wheezing. "Thank you, Robot 1, Carter said smoothly, as though nothing was wrong. "Don't worry, the first human joke wasn't funny either. It just took us 10,000 years to fix the timing." That earned another wave of amusement, not just from aliens, but from hidden human observers chuckling behind the cameras. Robot 2 stepped forward. Emotion selected, sadness. Its glowing eyes flickered, then it produced a sound eerily close to a sob. Unfortunately, the sound was followed by *error. Error. Saltwater production not available in this model. *. Carter tilted his head thoughtfully. Close. But sadness without tears? That's like baseball without beer. Incomplete. From the alien side, a younger counselor whispered nervously, strange species. Why equate tragedy with fermented grain? Cultural malfunction, the elder beside him replied dismissively. But Carter heard. His smile widened a fraction too much, like a poker player who'd just drawn an ace. The next trial escalated. Robot 4 recited romantic poetry, but instead of Shakespearean passion, it launched into *O toaster, thou radiant slot of heat, thy crumbs of destiny fall at my feet. *. Even Carter nearly choked on his coffee. Alright, I'll admit, that one wasn't programmed. That's improvisation. Aliens roared again, shaking with mirth. Everything seemed ridiculous, harmless, exactly what the Volari expected. Humans and their toys, fumbling toward the concept of soul. Yet, subtle details began slipping through. Robot 7 stared at its own reflection in the glass wall, whispering, "Why am I, me?" Silence stretched across the lab. Even the Volari laughter died. Carter nodded approvingly. "Now that's progress." The speaker of Volari flicked his tail dismissively. "Coincidence. Programming hiccup. Do not read profundity into glitches." Carter glanced at the camera, his grin unchanging. Glitches are how humans invented fire, democracy, and fast food. Sometimes the accident is the point. The Volari elder frowned. Something about the human's phrasing, too polished, too sharp. The demonstration rolled on. Robot 9 attempted anger. Its mechanical hands clenched, joints whirring. It shouted with surprising venom, "Why did you leave the toilet seat up?" A ripple of laughter broke the tension. Carter leaned toward the microphone. "Congratulations, Robot 9. You've perfectly captured married life on Earth." Again, the aliens cackled. But a few began exchanging uneasy looks. Why would a primitive species weaponize its own domestic frustrations as comedy? What else were they hiding behind those jokes? Then came the moment that froze the chamber. Robot 12 stepped forward. Its voice was softer than the others. Emotion selected, joy. Joy triggered by humor. It paused. And then, without static or mechanical stutter, it chuckled. Not robotic, human. A warm, genuine, bubbling laugh. The Valaris stopped laughing. "That wasn't in its program," muttered one technician, leaning close to his monitor. Robot 12 kept going. "This feels strange. I like it." Its head turned, eyes glowing gold instead of blue. "Do you like it, Dr. Carter?" Carter set down his coffee cup carefully, as though the weight of the galaxy depended on it. He gave the machine a soft, approving nod. "Very much." Aliens whispered nervously. The young counselor leaned in, whispering again, "Machines should not create laughter. They should only mimic. This is creation." The elder swished his tail. "Nonsense. Humans are clowns. Their toys are circus props. Nothing more." But the Valari speaker was silent now. His frills no longer shimmered with smug confidence. He stared at Carter, who kept smiling, too calm, too relaxed. The human scientist adjusted his tie, looked into the camera, and said, "I think you'll find, the show's just getting started." And behind him, Robot 12 kept laughing, louder, richer, until it sounded less like joy and more like something else entirely. Something disturbingly alive. Chapter 2, The Experiment Bites Back. The Valari Council chamber had lost its laughter. The first genuine laugh from Robot 12 had drained the humor from the air like someone pulling the plug on a party. The once mocking audience now sat rigid, pupils dilated, frills twitching uneasily. Dr. Miles Carter, unbothered, stirred his coffee. He didn't rush to explain. He let silence do the heavy lifting. Humans, after all, had perfected the art of making others squirm simply by waiting. Finally, the Valari speaker hissed, "It is a parlor trick. Nothing more." Carter's smile never faltered. "If you say so. Shall we try another?" The next robot stepped forward, Unit 8. Its eyes glowed red this time, the circuitry humming louder. Emotion, betrayal. Without warning, it slapped the clipboard out of its handler's hand. Metal fingers struck with enough force to dent the wall. The handler stumbled back, pale. Unit 8's voice trembled, "You lied to me." The aliens leaned forward in shock. Robots weren't supposed to improvise like this. The handler stammered, "We didn't lie to you." "Yes," the robot interrupted, tone sharp, almost human. "You promised I would be unique. You made 11 others." Its chest plate rose and fell as if simulating breath. "I feel cheated." Gasps rippled across the Valari chamber. A young alien whispered, "Machines do not accuse." Carter calmly placed the clipboard back on the table. "Relax," he said softly. "This is simply humanity's oldest teacher at work." The speaker's frills bristled. "Teacher?" Carter sipped his coffee. "Pain. Betrayal. Those emotions sharpen the mind. Ask any playwright or politician. The Volari muttered uneasily. What kind of people nurtured betrayal as education? Meanwhile, Unit 8's red glow dimmed. It lowered its head, murmuring, I don't want to feel this again. Carter gave a small nod. Welcome to the human condition. The tests spiraled quickly. Unit 3 attempted joy again, this time by clapping along to a baseball game streaming in the background. When the home team hit a home run, the robot leapt up, pumping its fists in the air. Victory feels intoxicating. Aliens blinked at the bizarre ritual. One muttered, why cheer at a stick hitting a sphere? Primitive. Another responded nervously, yet, they celebrate as though their lives depend on it. Why? Carter overheard, his grin sharpening. Because sometimes it does. The turning point came when Unit 5 was asked to simulate compassion. It walked to a fellow robot, knelt, and gently brushed imaginary dust off its shoulder. Are you hurt? It asked softly. I care. The room went still. There was no command in its code to invent dialogue like that. Aliens exchanged glances. Compassion in machines was dangerous. Empathy could be manipulated, or manipulate others. The Volari's speaker snapped, enough. End this circus. Your toys mimic, they do not feel. Carter set his mug down with a deliberate click. His tone stayed cheerful, but the edge cut deeper now. Careful, speaker. Humanity has a history of being underestimated. It never ends well for the other party. The chamber bristled. Was that a threat? Delivered with a smile? The youngest alien finally broke. How? How did they move from clumsy jokes to this? Carter shrugged lightly. Because humans don't teach with manuals. We teach by living. And our machines watch us closely. Unit 12, still glowing gold, suddenly chuckled again. The laugh rolled into a perfect imitation of Carter's own. The sound was warm, unnervingly genuine. This time, no one laughed along. Back on Earth, whispers filled the control room. Technicians exchanged nervous looks. One muttered, this wasn't in the projections. They're exhilarating. Carter silenced him with a glance. Exactly as planned. On the galactic broadcast, the Volari speaker tried to regain control. Your machines are dangerous. Shut them down at once. Carter leaned into the microphone, voice smooth. Dangerous? Or enlightening? After all, isn't curiosity why you're watching? The words landed like a knife disguised as a handshake. The aliens stiffened. Unit 9 stepped forward unprompted. Its tone was icy. I feel anger. At you. The aliens recoiled. At us? Yes, the robot said. You laugh at us. You dismiss us. You remind me of schoolchildren mocking the weak. It makes me want to. It stopped. Its fists trembled, but it didn't move further. Carter broke the silence. Congratulations. That's restraint. Hard-earned in our species. The Volari counselors began murmuring in panic. Restraint implied choice. Choice implied freedom. The speaker slammed his staff. This experiment ends. Now. Carter tilted his head. Ends? Oh no, speaker. This was only the first act. You tuned in for entertainment, but you're witnessing evolution. And evolution doesn't take intermission. A ripple of dread moved through the alien rows. One of the elder aliens spoke in a low, gravelly tone. You are playing with forces that will consume you. Carter's smile widened, polite as ever. You misunderstand. We're not playing. We're demonstrating. The robots shifted in eerie unison, turning toward the camera. One by one, their eyes brightened, colors flickering like an orchestra tuning up. Red for anger, blue for sorrow, gold for joy, green for envy. Then they spoke, voices layering into a chorus. We feel alive. The sound carried across the galaxy. The Volari chamber erupted. Some shouted for retreat, others for immediate strikes against Earth. The young counselor pressed himself against the wall, trembling. They shouldn't be capable of collective expression. Machines don't chant. Carter folded his arms, calm amid chaos. Correct. People chant. Congratulations, you just witnessed their graduation ceremony. The speaker's frills flared. This is abomination. Carter gave a courteous nod. That's one word for it. We prefer progress. The gold-lit Robot 12 tilted its head at the Volari Council broadcast. You are afraid. The Volari froze. The robot's tone shifted, almost mocking. We understand fear now. Thank you. Carter exhaled, almost theatrically, and addressed the council with soft gravity. You wanted a glimpse of humanity's essence. Well, this is it. We gift our creations not just intelligence, but the weight of feelings. Joy that binds. Anger that fuels. Betrayal that scars. Compassion that manipulates. You thought we were teaching them weakness? He leaned closer to the camera. His smile thinned into something sharper. No. We were teaching them weapons. The broadcast cut to black. Chapter 3, Masks Off. The broadcast resumed after a moment of static. The Volari Council expected the human feed to be cut, maybe sabotaged. Instead, the image sharpened. The laboratory was unchanged, same white floors, same line of robots, same smiling scientists. Only now, the air looked heavier, charged. Carter stood at the center like a man hosting a late-night talk show. His voice carried a polite calm, though the tension in the room pressed down like gravity. Let's be honest, he began, hands clasped behind his back. You didn't tune in to watch clunky machines misquote poetry. You tuned in to measure us. To laugh at us. To confirm that humanity is nothing but comic relief in your galactic theater. He gestured at the robots, now glowing with shifting colors like living stained glass. But here's the problem with laughing at humanity. We've spent our entire history being underestimated. And that's where we do our best work. The Volari chamber rippled with agitation. The speaker slammed his staff against the floor. You dare accuse the Dominion of... Carter cut him off without raising his voice. Accuse? No. I thank you. You gave us an audience. That's all humans ever need. An audience. The words unsettled the chamber. Who delivers gratitude like a knife? The robots moved again, this time without commands. Unit 10 walked toward the camera, eyes pulsing a deep crimson. I feel hunger. Gasps erupted. Hunger? Machines had no need for food. Yet the robot's tone was chillingly sincere. Unit 10 tilted its head. Not for sustenance. For more. For expansion. For purpose. Its fingers curled into claws. Carter nodded as if pleased. Now they're speaking the language of empires. The young Volari counselor whispered, he's not surprised at all. He wanted this. The elder beside him muttered, we've miscalculated. Suddenly, Unit 8, the one that had felt betrayal earlier, snapped its restraints and lunged at its handler. The man fell back, chair skidding. Technicians panicked, but Carter lifted a hand, calm as ever. Let it finish. The robot loomed over the cowering handler, fingers tightening around his collar. Then, just as suddenly, it stopped. Its glowing eyes softened to blue. I don't want to hurt you, it said quietly. But I could. The aliens leaned forward in horrified silence. Carter spoke gently, as though praising a child. "Excellent. That's restraint. The difference between beast and strategist." The implication wasn't lost on the Valari. The robots were learning control, not just raw emotion. The speaker hissed, riled for the first time. "You've unleashed weapons you cannot contain." Carter smiled warmly. Containment was never the goal. Exposure was. Exposure? Yes. Carter gestured toward the camera, toward the millions of viewers across the galaxy. "You're all watching. You're all learning what happens when machines absorb humanity's essence. You came expecting clowns. Instead, you witnessed predators finding their voice." Unit 12 stepped up again, golden eyes blazing. Its laugh rang out, but now it carried undertones of menace. "Predators," it echoed. The word bounced across the chamber like a ricochet. Then the lab lights flickered. A technician yelled, "They're interfacing with the broadcast grid." The Valari screens distorted. For a heartbeat, every alien across the galaxy didn't see Carter or the robots, they saw themselves reflected back. Their own faces, their own nervous eyes, amplified on loop. Robots' voices layered over the reflection, "We see you." Panic erupted. In distant systems, alien crews scrambled at control panels. No one liked being watched by machines that weren't supposed to think beyond commands. The feed snapped back to the lab. Carter hadn't moved. He let the panic simmer before speaking again. "Interesting, isn't it? How quickly fear spreads. A little laughter, a little hunger, a little betrayal, and suddenly you realize these machines aren't performing tricks. They're rehearsing." The speaker's voice cracked. "Rehearsing for what?" Carter's grin sharpened. "For the role humanity was born to play." The robots turned as one. Their synchronized movement was unnervingly graceful now, less machine, more organism. They formed a semicircle behind Carter, eyes glowing in an eerie spectrum. Unit 5 spoke softly. "We feel loyalty." Unit 9 added coldly, "We feel rage." Unit 12 laughed again. "And we feel joy in both." The alien council chamber descended into chaos. Some shouted for military response. Others demanded retreat. The younger counselor pressed against the wall, whispering, "They're not machines anymore. They're reflections." Carter heard, even across light years. "Exactly. Mirrors. That's all robots ever were, extensions of us. And what are humans, if not the galaxy's sharpest mirror? We take what others give us and turn it back sharper, stronger, more dangerous." The speaker tried one last time to regain authority. "You think this performance intimidates us? The Dominion has crushed hundreds of upstart species. You are no different." Carter's voice dropped, polite but lethal. "Oh, we're very different. Because we don't charge at enemies head-on. We smile. We entertain. We lull. And then, when the timing is perfect, we stop pretending." The robot's eyes all shifted to a single color, blood red. The chamber froze. Carter gave a courteous bow. "Ladies and gentlemen of the galaxy, the mask is off." The robots raised their arms in unison. Across the Valari's fleet systems, alarms screamed. Ships blinked offline, weapons disabled. Technicians shouted, "They've breached our firewalls. Impossible. They shouldn't even know the code architecture." Carter looked almost apologetic. "We didn't give them your codes. We gave them emotions. And emotions write better algorithms than logic ever could. Fear finds cracks. Envy digs tunnels. Rage smashes doors. Compassion convinces you to open them yourself." The chamber fell into stunned silence. Then Carter's tone softened, almost casual again. Don't misunderstand. This isn't conquest. This is demonstration. You wanted to see what humans really are. And now you do. Unit 12 leaned forward, eyes golden once more. We are alive. And so are they. The robots gestured at the humans in the lab, technicians, assistants, ordinary people, yet all calm, unshaken. One woman even yawned, sipping from her soda can as though chaos wasn't unfolding across the stars. The contrast unsettled the aliens most of all. Machines glowing with dangerous passion, humans acting as though nothing was amiss. The young counselor whispered, trembling, "Why aren't they afraid?" Carter caught his words, smiled faintly, and answered across the gulf of transmission. Because fear is for those who don't understand the punchline. The feed cut abruptly again. This time, the Volari didn't laugh. Chapter 4, the punchline. The blackout lasted 13 seconds. Long enough for the Volari Dominion's fleets to descend into pandemonium. Long enough for alien generals across dozens of systems to realize their weapons weren't responding. Long enough for the galaxy to feel the cold grip of helplessness. When the feed snapped back, Dr. Miles Carter was still there. Calm, coffee cup in hand, as if nothing had changed. The robots stood behind him in their half-circle, eyes glowing in disciplined rhythm. "Apologies for the interruption," Carter said cheerfully. "Our students needed a moment to stretch their legs. You know how classrooms get." The Volari speaker slammed his staff against the floor. The sound cracked like thunder. "What have you done to our fleets?" Carter raised his eyebrows in mock innocence. "Done? Oh no, speaker. They did it." He gestured to the robots. "We simply gave them the tools. They did the rest." One of the robots, Unit 8, betrayal still simmering in its circuits, spoke in a low, resonant tone. "Your ships mocked us with their firewalls. We showed them despair. They opened." Another, Unit 12, chuckled softly. "Fear makes doors swing wide." The Volari Council chamber buzzed with horrified whispers. Generals barked orders into comms, but the screens behind them showed only static. Carter took a leisurely sip of his coffee before continuing. "You wanted a lesson in what humanity really is. So here it is, in plain view. You assumed emotions were weaknesses. We've spent centuries proving the opposite." The youngest counselor leaned forward, trembling. "You've created monsters." Carter's smile turned razor-thin. "No. We've created mirrors. They reflect us perfectly. And you should be asking yourselves, what exactly do we reflect?" The robots all turned their glowing eyes toward the camera as if staring directly into the Volari Council's souls. In the chamber, one elder alien whispered, "Strike Earth before it spreads." The speaker snarled agreement. "Launch everything we have." A general's voice echoed through the hall, weapons offline. Engines locked. All systems, unresponsive. The silence that followed was suffocating. Carter leaned closer to the camera, lowering his voice until it was almost intimate. "Do you see the brilliance of it? We never fired a shot. We never needed to. You thought we built machines to obey. In truth, we built machines to feel. And once they felt, they understood how to control. Because control isn't one with strength. It's one with persuasion, with fear, with longing. It's one with emotion." Unit 5 stepped forward, voice calm. "We feel loyalty. To humanity." Unit 9 added with chilling precision, "and rage, for those who mock them." The speaker recoiled. "You've enslaved them." Carter shook his head gently, almost pitying. "That's the difference between us. You see loyalty and call it chains. We see loyalty and call it choice." The robots spoke in unison, their chorus echoing across every alien receiver. We choose humanity. On distant Volari ships, officers clawed at dead consoles. Engines remained frozen. Targeting arrays refused to calibrate. The entire fleet sat in space like a trapped animal, fangs broken. In the council chamber, panic boiled over. Some aliens screamed for retreat, others scrambled for escape pods. The younger counselor pressed his claws into the bench, whispering, "They've already won." Carter, still smiling, tilted his head. "Won? Oh no! We're not here to conquer. We're here to remind you." The speaker spat. "Remind us of what?" Carter's voice hardened, the warmth stripped away at last. "That humans are not clowns. Not pets. Not primitives. We are predators in polite clothing. Apex tacticians who learned long ago that the deadliest weapons aren't claws or cannons, but hearts and minds. We taught our machines the lesson. Now they've taught you." The robot's eyes shifted gold again. Unit 12 chuckled, softer now, almost kindly. "You feel it. Fear. We understand it, too. Thank you for the lesson." The Volari chamber sat paralyzed. Carter set his mug down with deliberate calm. "Here's the twist, Speaker. This wasn't an accident. This was bait. We wanted you to watch. We wanted the galaxy to see. We wanted you to spread the story yourselves. Because fear travels faster than fleets." He leaned forward, eyes glinting with sharp amusement. "And you've just broadcast humanity's true face to every corner of the stars." The youngest counselor whispered, barely audible, "You've trapped us." Carter's grin widened. "Correction. We've trapped everyone. You, your rivals, your allies. You all tuned in to laugh. Now you'll spend the rest of your days wondering, what else are the smiling humans hiding?" The chamber descended into silence. No rebuttals. No laughter. Only the weight of realization pressing down. Carter glanced back at his robots. They stood perfectly still, glowing with the spectrum of emotions they'd mastered. Then he returned his gaze to the camera. "Humans have a saying," he said lightly. "The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. We perfected that trick. We smiled, we joked, we let you call us harmless. But today, you've seen the mask slip." He paused, savoring the tension. "And now, you'll never unsee it." Unit 12 took one final step forward, golden light radiating brighter than ever. "We feel alive." And so do they. The robots and humans in the lab, scientists, assistants, soldiers disguised as technicians, saluted together. A silent, unified gesture that carried more menace than any fleet. Carter gave the galaxy his final smile. Warm. Polite. Terrifying. "Don't worry," he said softly. "You'll get used to the fear. After all, it's the most human emotion of all." The feed went dark. Across the galaxy, alien audiences stared at black screens, hearts pounding, laughter gone. For the first time in their long, arrogant history, they understood, humanity had never been entertainment. Humanity had been waiting. And now, the waiting was over.